Hello everyone, this is Prashant, and today we are discussing our almost the last unit because other chapters will be optional or other units will be optional after it, more likely the application or peripheral discoveries. But in this, we essentially focus on the research methods in behavioral neuroscience. So, we are going to discuss all the research methods that were used to identify the functions of a brain and stuff like that. And let's go. Let's start with the most simplest one, that is brain lesions. In a most basic terms, it is known as ablation, basically damaging a specific brain part to observe its effect on behavior. It can be done by surgically removing the brain part, number two, by electricity, by electrically destroying a brain part, or by use of chemicals to destroy neurons, and then observe what specific part what destruction of a specific part leads to. Okay, and now we move forward to the brain stimulation. So what happens in brain stimulation is that brain parts are stimulated. They can be stimulated through electricity, that are through electrodes placed in a brain, or they can be done through magnetism. So what happens that is there is a coil, you change electric current in it, that generates magnetic field, and that magnetic field affects uh, the electricity in neurons because magnetism and electricity are related. So then we move forward to our next way of imaging the brain, that is electrocorticography, that is EEG, and it was discovered by Hans Berger. And what he found out that when you place electrodes around your head, those electrons can measure your activity in your head, and these measured activities are mapped out on a paper, like polygraph test. Okay, and what they found out that brain is always active. Brain waves have a certain pattern, especially near the cortex, and EEG changes with behavior. So suppose if a person is lying, their graph will go up and down very quickly. You can say that. Okay, now we are going to move forward to magnetoencephalography, that is MEG. So we know that electricity and magnetism are related. Electricity, changing electricity generates magnetic field. Electrons are also have magnetic field due to their electricity passing through their axon. And during a behavior, there is a change in electricity in elect what you call it neurons, and those changing electric fields generate magnetic fields, and those magnetic fields can be detected by this machine. They are less distorted in nature in comparison to electric fields. That's why you get a more precise graph. So now we go to computerized tomography, that is CT scanning. These were discovered by Alan Cormack and Gorfman Hausfeld. And what they found out is that when you pass X-rays through brain, you get a form of image. And in brain, uh, there are certain dark portions and certain light portions. You can identify lesions or brain damage because high density tissue or lesion are usually darker in comparison to the lighter ones or less dense tissues. Okay. And by collecting all these X-ray images from different angles, you can form a 3D image of a brain and how it is. Now we move forward to our next topic, that is magnetic resonance imaging, that is MRI. So what happens in MRI is that you detect a density of different hydrogen atoms in your brain through magnetic waves. So we know that the brain is a fluid and it has water in it, and water has hydrogen, two hydrogen atoms in it. So what it happens is that there are two waves that are involved here. One that aligns the hormone atoms in one direction, and the other wave that vibrates, and those vibrations are detected by this machine and it forms an image. The other we have is functional MRI, that is uh, in that we form uh, or we map out brain activity as required by the oxygen observed by the blood vessels, because we know that to any to perform any form of physiological activity you require oxygen from your blood. Okay. So when brain uses energy, it requires oxygen, and that oxygen kind of leads to change in the density of water. and in the H atoms, and those difference in concentration can be detected. Okay, so MRI detects those changes, and those static images are snapped. Basically, a bunch of images are taken at different timeline, and they are superimposed on each other to see if there is a difference between before and after. Okay, now we come up to our last way of researching, that is PET, positron emission tomography. So a radioactive substance, relatively harmless to humans, is taken in, injected in a person. It is observed what kind of positrons leave out the body due to decay or radiation during brain activity, and it is measured uh, by the PET scanner. Okay, so those posit and a 3D model can be generated based upon it, because when those electrons collide uh, with the PET scanner, they generate a certain form of flash or image. Okay, so all those signals are kind of compiled as an image. So that's all. Thank you for watching. Now I have covered all the major research methods in behavioral neuroscience, apart from the ones I mentioned in my experiments implicitly. So, yep, I hope you can understand biopsychology easily through my discussion. And if you like the video series, do give it a like, do share, subscribe. Thank you.